me just say this. The corollary to being a vice presidential potential pick and having to go out there and defend yourself for stuff that you've said or written or positions you've had doesn't speak well to what you're going to bring to the ticket. It's also a problem if you are the actual vice presidential pick and your wife is deployed to go out and justify comments that you made that came to light like a week or two earlier. If that story is still going on that long, where your wife has come out and you're the VP pick, again, you're not the you're just the one who's supposed to be the cherry on top, not the castor oil sprinkled on the sundae. Here is Usha Vance defending her husband, J.D. Vance's childless cat lady's comment as a quip. Incidentally, he made this comment more than once and substantiated it in various other places and doubled down on the concept of it. Go ahead.
There are a few comments that are out there that I have to ask you about. In 2021, JD said, "We are effectively run by a bunch of childless cat ladies," taking aim at government leaders who don't have children. What was your reaction?
Well, I mean, I took a moment to look and actually see what he had said and try to understand what the context was and all that, which is something that I really wish people would do a little bit more often. And the reality is,
you know what I would do if it was my husband? I would ask him. But which it makes me feel like a little bit like she's being a little disingenuous here. Go back.
To look and actually see what he had said and try to understand what the context was and all that, which is something that I really wish people would do a little bit more often. And the reality is, he made a quip in service of making a point that he wanted to make that was substantive, and it had actual meaning. And I just wish sometimes that people would talk about those things and that we would spend a lot less time just sort of going through this three-word phrase or that three-word phrase, because what he was really saying is that it can be really hard to be a parent in this country. And sometimes our policies are designed in a way that make it even harder. And we should be asking ourselves, why is that true? What is it about our leadership and the way that they think about the world that makes it so hard sometimes for parents? And that's the conversation that I really think that we should have. And I understand why he was saying that.
Oh, pause it. I'd be happy to have that conversation. It doesn't go with, it's because that there are women who don't have kids in a polite way to refer. No, it's because of capitalism. It's because actually your husband voted against the one measure that we've been able to institute in decades that overnight, over the course of a year, diminished child poverty and took 7 million families out of poverty, and that was the child tax credit. And had J.D. Vance said, I'm going to vote for this bill, I want this included in the IRA, it would have forced Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema to vote for it too, because they would have been like, oh, I'm a Democrat. We've got this Republican coming out to vote for it. Now, I don't think, to be fair, he was in the Senate when that vote actually happened, but he wasn't out there running on this. He could have come out and said, like, I want to reintroduce this bill. In fact, I think we just had a vote in the Senate 6 days ago on at least partially a child tax credit, $1,800. It wasn't the full that we had during COVID, so it wasn't $300 a month. It was closer to an extra $150 a month. And I think J.D. Vance skipped that vote.
Yeah, he was there. He was there.
I think he skipped that vote.
He is not saying it's so hard for some people that they want to have kids, but it's just like, what is she hinting at? The economy for working?
Oh yeah, no, that's what she's hinting at. But Leah, I will give the best possible reading. He made a quip where he criticized women who were barren, according to him. He said it in a funny way. But women who decide not to have children.
AOC, Kamala Harris, and Pete Buttigieg.
Yep. Although Pete Buttigieg actually has a kid.
Now does that kid too.
But his point was it's hard on parents. Well, dude had an opportunity 6 days ago to make it much easier on parents. Guess what he did? Zero. It doesn't seem like maybe Usha's even talking to him because she had to go back and do her own research on this. Yeah. Maybe you should actually go and check his voting record while you're there too.
Because what he actually said was that it's not anything to do with sort of economic pressure. It's people because of feminism or LGBTism or whatever are deciding not to have parents, and also making the people who do decide to have parents feel bad about their choice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's purely cultural.
Totally cultural. Vegetable Sauce says it's okay to insult someone if you understand the broader context, but also the broader context doesn't matter.
There's a good context for calling people cat ladies.
It really is.
Because I'm talking about the economy. Even though I'm a guy who said that sort of state or public daycare is for weird people.
Hey, so we all remember the Supreme Court's ruling on Trump's presidential immunity case. Well, get this. The leader of the Heritage Foundation think tank has said the second American Revolution will be bloodless if the left allows it to be. All sparked by the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. Well, Ground News found nearly 50 sources reporting on it with zero coverage coming from the right. Why? Well, going through these articles, you can see most of them tie this project to Trump. Like this report from the DCCC writing Trump's so-called Project 2025 manifesto advocates for a nationwide abortion ban, quote, silencing his political enemies and more. With presidential elections not too far away, this is an extremely important story, and you wouldn't know about it unless you intentionally diversify where you get your news from, which is why Ground News created their blind spot feed. It's to surface major stories with little reporting coming from either the right or the left. Our longtime sponsor really simplifies empowering yourself with knowledge so we're fully aware where our information is coming from and how that influences our reporting or lack thereof. An important mission under our current political climate. Best of all, they're offering my viewers 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan that gets me access to all their features. So head to ground.news/majority or scan my QR code to help support an independent news platform working towards a more transparent media landscape. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.